Welcome to Situation Room. I'm your host Rafae Iqbal, and in today's episode we'll be talking about the Pahalgam false flag operation, India's war hysteria and its propaganda and the repercussions that we're seeing. Of course, BJP has been pursuing communal politics since very long, and it has also played this blame game since very long, spewing venom against Pakistan without any concrete evidence, without anything to back their hollow claims. These are patterns of the old if we talk about India, the false flag operations and how they use these false flag operations as a pretext to carry out their unilateral and illegal actions. The same happened back in 2019, India using the Pulwama attack as a pretext to abrogate Article 370 and 35A, and now the same is being witnessed by the whole world as India with its Pahalgam false flag operation. It is trying to hold in abeyance the Indus Waters Treaty unilaterally and illegally, and trying to weaponize water, to which the response was given by Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif and the Chief of Army Staff General Asim Munir, saying that water is an essential lifeline for all the 240 million Pakistani population and that it will never be compromised on. The same was reiterated with regards to national security, as no compromise will be made, and if the enemy tries any misadventure or aggression, it will be given a befitting response. The nation also expressed this resolve, standing shoulder to shoulder with the Pakistan Armed Forces. Now, when we talk about this propaganda and war hysteria, of course, the Indian media was very loud with regards to that. The BJP leadership was very loud regards to that. But now that questions are being raised, not just by Pakistan, not just by the world community, but the questions are being raised from within India itself, from the political leadership, such as the Congress and Aam Aadmi Party, from the religious leaders in India, to even the former military officials, questioning this Pahalgam false flag operation as India's own security and intelligence failure as one of the most militarized zones in the world. In the studios, we've been joined by Brigadier Mehsud Khan, who's a defense analyst. We'll be talking about the Pahalgam false flag operation and Modi's war hysteria. We've also been joined by Shahryar Khan, who's a security analyst. Thank you both, gentlemen, for your time and being part of the conversation. Starting off from Brigadier Mehsud. Sir, when we talk about India, of course, and Pakistan, the whole situation that has come up, two nuclear armed countries, but Pakistan's response to the provocations by the Indian side, very responsible, very well measured. But when we talk about the Indian sides, there was a warmongering, war hysteria going on since the past week. And now when questions are being raised, when Pakistan is asking for an investigation, when the whole world is asking for evidences for them to back their hollow claims, there's complete silence that we see on the Indian side. Would you term this silence as that of a criminal nature when we talk about the repercussions all this war hysteria could have had for the region?
Thank you very much. It is indeed the way they created this situation, and they have a long history of false flag operation right from 1971 when they created this Ganga plane hijacking in 1971. Again, that was linked with East Pakistan, and subsequently some of the major false flag operation undertaken by the Indians. That was the Chhattisgarh Singhpura, then the Mumbai attacks and Pulwama. So and the recent one at the Pahalgam, but they have failed to provide any evidence, a shred of evidence to the international community. And now the international community, the dignitaries, the political leaders, they are asking for the evidence for the involvement of Pakistan in this so-called failed false flag operation. Similarly, the international print media, they have raised several questions, like New York Times has carried some stories, and then the Economist carried in their editorial, they also questioned the Bloomberg, the BBC, even the Indian domestic print media, they have raised the question, the intelligentsia, etc. So the public opinion internationally, they are also questioning. So that's why India now they are on the back foot. So when they hold a briefing for the diplomats, there were 100 diplomats from various countries. So a question was asked by one of the diplomats, are you people are going to war with Pakistan, a nuclear country? No, based on this pretext that this is the past pattern. So that which
even to which they didn't have any evidence.
Yeah, exactly. Even the past all those false flag operation, we have the evidence, we have the irrefutable evidence. It was the inside job. Simply just to remind that the Satish Singh Pura, beside General Gill, he's confirmed in 2017, it was inside job, it was carried out by the Indian military. President Clinton wrote the preface of the book written by Madeleine Albright, and where he mentioned that Hindu militants. So that is sufficient of Indian involvement. Similarly, when we talk of this Mumbai attack, so Elias Davidson, he has written book The Betrayal of India, 905 pages book. The conclusion of his book is that it was inside job, and he raised many questions. Not a single Indian has responded to those questions. So now they are in a weaker wicket, and now they don't have anything to present to international community. So Pakistan is very simply, they have asked, Pakistan is ready, Pakistan has condemned and ready for a neutral experts to come to carry out probe, to carry out some credible investigation. For that Pakistan is ready, but unfortunately they are not ready for that, because if that is done, they will again be exposed. So all the evidence, the most importantly the recent leaked document of the planning, which of 9 pages basically conceived and by a strategic level, it was a top secret document which was then leaked to the Telegram and subsequently, and there the entire strategy, the entire operational plan, how this was to be carried out. There was an alternative option too was also there. In case Pahalgam is not undertaken, then they can go for an activity in Shopian. And then they also conceived that they can pull forces from the western borders to the east, and then they can facilitate the terrorists, the Fitna al Kharij, to attack inside Pakistan, and that actually happened. And
so more lies to cover their own lies.
So now they, despite all the fact that they are under heavy pressure from the international community, like the J.D. Vance has, then the European Union, the Chinese, the Russians, they have raised the questions. Similarly, the President of UN Security Council, he has said that this situation is serious. They are ready to hold an emergency session. So probably no, and Pakistan has conveyed very categorically. The Chief of Army Staff in a recent visit to the Tilla firing ranges, and yesterday the Corps Commander Conference, which was concluded, the message is loud and clear. If Pakistan's sovereignty and territorial integrity is violated, the response from Pakistan will be lethal and massive.
And that's how it should be. It's about time that the international community, although Pakistan has been highlighting since a very long time, they're finally taking cognizance of India's state-sponsored terrorism. Mr. Shahryar Khan, I'd like to come towards you for the next question. When we talk about this war hysteria and using the false flag operations as a pretext, since the past many days, we heard that the Indian side was very loud with its war-mongering and war hysteria. But now that questions are being raised, we see a criminal silence on their part. We're living in a world where misinformation and disinformation is a concern for the whole world community at large, and there are efforts being done to counter it. But at the same time, when we see this kind of journalism being done from India, this kind of misinformation emanating from India, do you think it is up to the world community to take cognizance of what their media is doing, what the BJP RSS nexus with the media is doing, and how dangerous it is to plunge any region into turmoil or chaos? And secondly, accountability for the Indian media and the BJP RSS as questions are being raised from within the Indian masses as well.
Rafae, that's a very good question. India right now is going through a crisis of credibility. Pakistan has the moral high ground right now. If you look at the way Indians have basically revoked the status of Kashmir and the way they've like suppressed the local population, this was already in the making, an incident like this. Totally indigenous. Obviously the moral support and international support comes from Pakistan, but this is again internally and an inside job, as Brigadier Sahab has also mentioned. I personally see 3 reasons why India would conduct and behave in such a manner. One, India has always been trying to sabotage the Indus Water Treaty. They have like said this over and over again. In the last like 2 or 3 years, they have been very vocal about it. Secondly, the elections in Bihar. The way BJP came into power this time around, they have like lost their credibility, and it was very difficult. It was a marginal victory for the Modi government this time around. As soon as this incident happens, 3 days after that, Mr. Modi appears in a rally in Bihar,
No.
trying to garner the votes of the local population. And unfortunately, in India, anti-Pakistani rhetoric sells. And they have been like gaining support by radicalizing their own population against the Muslim minority. So this, you have to like see this as a very, what do you call it, like a self deprecating behavior from the Indian government, that they are targeting their Muslim minorities and targeting their neighbors to garner votes in elections. So even in the previous program as well, when I was there, I was like very vocal about the fact that we should stop calling India India and start calling it Hindustan, because now it's not a democratic, it's not a secular country that we used to discuss a few years ago. It's now a Hindu majoritarian, very militant Hindu nation.
A saffronized dictatorship.
Saffronized dictatorship, exactly. And the Muslim minorities are not safe over there. If you look at the internal structure with which India is operating, there's no free media. Anyone who questions the narrative of the Indian government or the BJP-led government is ostracized. I was just like very randomly looking at Virat Kohli's Instagram. He accidentally liked a song in a Pakistani Instagram, and he had to offer an apology to the local population that I accidentally liked a song from Pakistan. This is how militant their response is, or anti-Pakistan hatred that they have basically integrated into the DNA of the Indian people. This is not a very good sign. This is not a good sign for a nation of over 1 billion people in which the largest minority is the Muslims. Even after this incident happened, look at the way the local Kashmiri population was treated. They basically rallied on anti-Muslim sentiments. They basically started targeting. So why were 2 houses in Kashmir destroyed? If this allegedly happened from Pakistan, then why were local houses in Kashmir destroyed? Why did the right-wing RSS Hindus started attacking Kashmiri women, Muslim women? Why were various Muslim students across India attacked in their own universities? Their hostels were ransacked. They had to run for their lives. So what kind of like democracy are we like talking about? And when it comes to international credibility and the narrative that you were discussing, India has been exposed with the EU disinformation campaign.
Yes.
That was highlighted in the European Union. They were running fake NGOs.
Yes.
They were running fake social media campaigns, and this was already exposed to the world. That is why their narrative is not really taken seriously globally. And what about the assassinations that they have been conducting in Canada, in the US, and now you know, they're trying to play the victim card. This is one of the reasons why the US did not take this seriously. This is why Canada did not take this seriously. This is why the European Union did not take their narrative seriously. This is why I say that they're going through a crisis of credibility, and Pakistan holds the moral high ground. And if a situation like stays like this, then Pakistan should take this to the UN Security Council.
Well, definitely Pakistan should, and very important points raised, Mr. Shahryar Khan. Of course, Pakistan has been highlighting these issues since long, and when we talk about the Indian side, of course, they also need to take cognizance of their policies and their politics that they have been pursuing and how damaging it is for the local Indian masses. To talk more on this, we have been joined by Mary James Gill, who is a former MPA of the Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz. Thank you for your time and being part of the conversation. Starting off right from how the conversation has shaped up, of course, BJP, RSS nexus and the communal politics and the communal policies that it has been pursuing. Of course, we know Muslims are not only the community that has been persecuted, whether it be the Sikhs, the Christians or the lower caste Hindus as well. This communal politics that the BJP has been pursuing since long, it has been oppressing and marginalizing the society, many segments of the society, apart from those who follow the Hindutva ideology. What's your comment on this communal politics and how voices are being raised against it now?
Thank you very much for including me on this important discussion. And I think this is the very right time to highlight not just what has been happening in the region, but particularly India, who was dreaming to lead South Asia and who tried to claim that India was the biggest democracy and having, it being a secular democracy, These claims were dumped down a long time ago, but this current situation has exposed it to the world, and especially, where Shahryar was saying that it's not just starting from how its international credibility was lost, especially, when you look at past reports, be it US Justice Department unveiling that in November, that how India had been involved in extrajudicial killings, or same goes in Canada. But more importantly, when we talk about marginalization of communities, and one important aspect that we as religious minorities in Pakistan have been highlighting, and one of the reasons we chose Pakistan was the fact that this mentality, it's not new. Even at the time of partition, we could clearly see that how Dalits were, how untouchable people they were treated. And when Christians were asked where they want to be, their choice was always Pakistan. And our leaders represented before the Boundary Commission that we must be included, counted with Pakistan and Punjab during Punjab partition. And the reason was quite simple, because the caste-based discrimination that is still continued in India, and we can see horrific examples, be it Christian Dalits or Hindu or Sikh Dalits, how they are treated. But here we can clearly see that this new rise of Hindutva ideology that was suppressed over the years, we can clearly see that this is a good example how India looks at people who come from, untouchable backgrounds, and those lower communities, I think, how they are not just marginalized, but they are often treated as traitors. So I think how India is trying to set an example that it's not a safe place for people who are marginalized in India. And I think we people in Pakistan, and most importantly, the Christians, how they have been quietly and consistently, especially in the armed forces, they have been, actively defending the country, be it 1948, 65, 71 wars, and even 1999. We can see a long series of our commanders and soldiers who have been defending the country. So I think it's a good time for India to see that the extrajudicial killings, be it in different regions, how India is trying to destabilize a nuclear power. And I think Pakistan taking this response quite maturely, and because Pakistan has been suffering from terrorism for such a long time, we have lost more than 80,000 lives in terrorism, and we understand how badly it has affected. So there is no way we are going to stand up to this bullying and harassment. And India thinks that without causing any rational evidence, without any supporting evidence, they can just blame and get away with this. So I think Pakistan has taken a very rational stand, and it has eventually exposed India without any evidence, just placing a blame game, just using disinformation as a tool, just using social media to create chaos. It has definitely exposed India, and it has exposed all those atrocities that no one was talking about before. So in this scenario, it's really important to understand that religious minorities in particular, they stand with the country no matter how the situation is, no matter how bad things have been. They have always defended. They will defend Pakistan, and I think it has given an opportunity to unite under this chaos. So
Definitely, Mary James Gill, that's some very important points that you raised. And of course, it is very wholesome to see the whole Pakistani nation unite at this critical juncture. And of course, the nation always stands united with its armed forces, whether it be Indian aggression, whether it be in counter-terrorism efforts, no matter what, the Pakistani nation stands shoulder to shoulder. And it is wholesome because at the other side of the border, on the Indian side, we see a state of panic and how there's divides created within the Indian society because of the communal politics that the BJP RSS has been pursuing. Coming towards Brigadier Mehsud for a very last question. Sir, the Pakistan Army is involved in war exercises at the moment. They are currently underway. We also just today test launched a successful surface-to-surface missile system, 450 kilometers range. We also saw the parade at the flag lowering ceremony at the Wagah border. Pakistan Army, it stands with its military might and operational readiness, but yet has been very responsible, given a very measured response to all the provocations that we've seen coming from the border. When we talk about the Indian side, we see panic, we see frustration, and what we're seeing, how the documents are being leaked, the classified documents being leaked, and how there's a state of confusion within their own military ranks. Responsible states, both nuclear armed, but a very different behavior for both of their militaries. How do you comment on that?
Certainly, they have behaving irresponsibility despite the fact the international community is pressurizing. But I would like to highlight this missile test which has been carried out. It has been named Abdali. Abdali was basically, he was requested by Shah Waliullah at that time when there was prosecuting, there was a Muslims, the Hindus, they were committing atrocities against Muslims. So he was requested, so he came and he defeated Marathas. So therefore this has been named as Abdali. That is one thing. And second important thing is the exercise was named as Indus. That is very important. So the message has been given. If you try to divert, stop or reduce the flow of water, or you develop some infrastructure, Abdali is there, it will be there on the site.
Definitely, the message is given, and the message is loud and clear. To any aggression or misadventure, Pakistan will give a very befitting response. This is not just reiterated by the country's security forces, but the political leadership and the whole nation in step with the security forces are very determined and have expressed the resolve to defend the motherland at all costs. Brigadier Mehsud Khan, Mr. Shahryar Khan and Mary James Gill, I'd like to thank all of you for your time and being part of the conversation as we were discussing the Pahalgam false flag operation, Modi's war hysteria, and the repercussions Modi's communal politics is having for India as it continues to stand exposed and faces a very embarrassing situation in front of the whole world. We'll continue with the developments as they unfold, but till then, take care.